Let us start with the calculation of transaction value. As we have seen in the previous video, section 15 and subsection 1 says that there are two conditions, and if those two conditions if you are satisfying, then only valuation will be done with these two sections, right? There are some inclusions and there are some exclusions. If those two conditions are not satisfied or any of them is not satisfied, then valuation rules will be followed, right? So those two conditions are price is the sole consideration and transaction is between unrelated person. If in any transaction price is the sole consideration and transaction is between unrelated persons, then only the valuation will be done as per section 15 and subsection 1 will be applicable. Otherwise these rules are applicable, right? So let us start with the inclusions. There are 5 inclusions for the value of supply. Any taxes, duties, cesses, fees and charges levied under any other act except GST, okay, that is what they have said, and under any other act GST compensation cess will be excluded if charged separately by the supplier. So GST compensation cess is also not applicable, is also not included here. So any GST, be that CGST, SGST or UTGST or IGST, any GST and any GST cess is also not applicable, right? Understood? So any other taxes, if it is excise tax, if it is entertainment tax or any other taxes or duties or fees under any other act, we are just including it. Like your stamp duty, GST is applicable on stamp duty as well, right? So therefore we have to add it back to the supply, value of supply. And then any amount that the supplier is liable to pay which has been incurred by the recipient and is not included in the price. If recipient incurs any extra amount and which is payable to the supplier, that will be considered as a part of supply. For example, if you are purchasing some machine and if transportation amount is being paid by the recipient on behalf of supplier, then that will be a part of the consideration, and therefore we are considering that as inclusion, right? Section 15(2)(b), right? Then the value will include all incidental expenses. Like I give you example of transportation, be that secondary packing, be that insurance or inspection charges, whatever incidental expenses, all such incidental expenses such as packing commission will be added because it is given in the inclusions, section 15(2)(c), right? Then D, subsidies linked to supply. Any other subsidies other than government subsidies, be that central government or state government. If central government or state government is giving subsidy, then that is not a part of value of supply. But if any reduction in value if you are finding, then that will be a part of subsidy. Interest, late fee, penalty for delayed payment of consideration will be included, right? Interest, late fee or penalty for delayed payment of consideration will be included. So interest, late fee, penalty, on this also GST is applicable. So if you are a student and if you are paying penalty, on that also GST is applicable, right? This is where you will understand section 15(2)(e). Then there are two exclusions. Okay, there is some typing mistake, but does not include. Here it is discount. I will write here, I will just type any other discount and GST itself, right? This is what you can understand. Then calculation of transaction value as per section 15(1), right? This is how we are considering. This is 15(2)(b), this is 15(2), and this is 15(3) exclusions. There are these 5: any taxes, duties, cesses, fees, charges levied under any other act, and then any amount that the supplier is liable to pay which has been incurred by the recipient and is not included in the price, any incidental expenses, and interest, late fee, penalty, and then subsidies, right? This is how the sequence goes. Then any normal trade or cash discount and normal trade. See, this is what we are speaking about, the discounts. And then GST, any GST or cess exclusion, it comes under the exclusion. We are deducting these two and getting the final value. This will be the transaction value as per section 15(1), right? So there are some notes. GST compensation cess will be excluded if charged separately by the supplier, which is given here. Any taxes duties mentioned above does not include any GST, right? So any taxes cesses here does not include GST because it is exempted, because it is excluded. All these inclusions and exclusions while calculating must also consider the type of supply, because we have different types of supplies. We have composite supplies, we have mixed supplies, right? So that type of supply we'll have to consider, not input and output, right? The type of levy as well, types of charges, forward charge, reverse charge, that also we'll have to consider. For instance, in case of composite supply and or mixed supply, section 8 is applicable, and therefore the whole supply would be charged at one rate, right? You might have learned this in previous semester, composite supply and mixed supply. One rate is applicable, thus proper inclusions have to be considered. Understood? Next, any non-GST taxes such as excise duty, VAT, sales tax, entertainment tax, stamp duty, municipal taxes, etc. There are numerous taxes. If it is not GST, just add it back. Okay. Then, generally in case of X factory sales contract, valuation has to be done as per section 15(2)(b). What is X factory sales? Suppose there is let us consider here is a supplier and here is the recipient. X factory sales means supplier will tell to the recipient that whatever I am selling, I will sell only at my factory gate. It is your responsibility to get it transported to your destination and do whatever with it. I will only sell the goods, right? This is called X factory sales, right? In this case also we'll have to consider 15(2)(b). What is 15(2)(b)? Any such amount which is payable by the recipient but belongs to the supplier, right? Then generally in case of FOB means free on board, valuation has to be done as per section 15(2)(c). Free on board, what do you mean by this? Again, here is a supplier and here is the recipient. Supplier tells the recipient that I will take transportation charges from you and I will arrange the transport for the delivery of the goods at your doorsteps. In this case, we call it as a FOB sale, and therefore valuation should be done as per 15(2)(c). What is 15(2)(c)? Incidental expenses, transportation, secondary packing, etc., commission, etc. Subsidy received in any form other than central or state government are to be included in transaction value. Subsidy means any reduction in the price, right? Suppose here is the supplier, here is the recipient, and there is one third party over here. If supplier is selling the goods to recipient, third party tells you do one thing, you just charge him 10 rupees less, I will pay you 10 rupee and you give this price at 10 rupee less. Supplier has got 100% amount, but recipient has got less value, right? Recipient is paying less value, and therefore what we call it as recipient has got subsidy from this third party, where third party is not a government entity, right? Then any interest, penalty or late fees, if any, charged by the supplier shall be considered as additional consideration as per section 15(2)(d). Subsidy point is 15(2)(e). This is additional consideration as per 15(2)(d). If tax invoice is already made, debit note section 34 has to be issued. Please note, taxability of interest or penalty or late fees is based on receipt basis according to time of supply given under section 12(6). See, this point is actually should be taught into the classroom, but I will try telling you this. If there is a recipient and there is a supplier, If recipient is not making a proper payment to the supplier, supplier will charge some penalty to the recipient. Whatever penalty recipient pays to the supplier, on that penalty also GST is applicable. That is what this point tries to say. But that penalty will not be a part of invoice. In the invoice, only value of only the transaction value will be given, but whatever you are charging extra in the name of interest or penalty or late fees, that will be uh, that will be received from the recipient in the form of debit note. Section 34 is applicable. We have a beautiful case study below this. In the next video we will see that case study. There you will understand this point. Okay, this illustration I'm speaking about. Discount of any sort given under any name. Discount of any sort and given under any name, that is where the value has been reduced. That is what we are speaking about, discounts, exclusions. Then that is to be deducted. It is a part of 15.3, 15.3a, right? In the see, there are some examples. End of season sale, stock clearance sale, these are the names of discounts. Not only cash discount or trade discount, you can get, you can give any other discounts as well. If it is passed by the supplier in written in the invoices, then fine, or in the sales contract, that is also fine. Understood? Next, in case of change in value of supply or GST rates, so if there is any change in value of supply or GST rates, time of supply as per section 12 or 13 has to be considered. Section 12 is for goods time of supply, section 13 is for services. Then what do? Either debit note or credit note is issued to the recipient by the supplier. Okay, so this is what is the clarification of this section 15.1. There are these exclusions and inclusions. This is very important chart. I request you all to just copy down this as a note and better by heart it, right? You need not by heart if you solve a number of problems on this point, but this is very easy, also very technical, right? So there is an amendment. We will see amendment right now. There is amendment from the circular 4721 2018 GST. This is the circular number dated 8th June 2018. Clarifies that there is some clarification made, and this clarification is into the 15.2b, where OEM, that is original equipment manufacturer, if it sells molds and dies and it is owned and supplied by OEM. Hope you are understanding. I will read this again. Molds and dies, which is used in tire manufacturing. Okay, molds and dies, or it is also used in some polishing or some colors. It can be any other thing. Molds and dies owned and supplied by OEM, that is original equipment manufacturer, on FOC basis, free of cost to a component manufacturer. Let me tell you example. OEM can be your some car manufacturer, Tata, be that Tata or Maruti Suzuki or Ford or whatever. They need tires, right? And tire they do not manufacture. Tire is manufactured by some other company like MRF, like Eurogrip, like Apollo, or whatever. See, the tire manufacturers are CM, that is component manufacturer, and OEMs are the car manufacturer. This is how you understand. If molds and dies are owned and supplied by the car manufacturer on free of cost basis, FOC means free of cost basis, to a component manufacturer, to a tire manufacturer, does not constitute a consideration. Why? Because see, there is no consideration involved. Hence, it is not included as per section 15.2b. Understood? If it is not a consideration, it is not a supply, and therefore it is not a it should not be calculated. There is no need for ITC reversal for OEM, as the activity is done in the course of furtherance of business. See, OEM it, from where will it bring molds and dies? It is owning, right, by OEM. If car manufacturer has molds and dies, it has its own, or will it purchase it from some market? It will obviously purchase from open market, right? While purchasing it, while purchasing molds and dies, it has taken input tax credit. Yes. Then if they have taken input tax credit, then for this supply, do they have to reverse their ITC? No, the answer is no. It is because we do not consider this as a what, supply. And also this activity is done in the course of furtherance of business. Why it is supplying molds and dies? It is in the course of furtherance of business. Title of goods is not changed on account of such supply, right? Title is not being changed. What molds and dies is what this OEM is doing is, it is supplying these molds and dies, right? In further clarification of above circular, where OEM supplies molds and dies to CM, that is where car manufacturer supplies molds and dies to tire manufacturer and suggests you to use CM's own molds and dies. Tire manufacturer will be having their own molds and dies, right? So OEM suggests that you use your own, but still I will supply my own molds and dies. In this case, the amortized value has to be added back to the transaction value by CM, and ITC should, whatever you have availed, that should be reversed by the car manufacturer OEM, right? This is the clarification given in this circular. I expect you to understand this explanation of this amendment. If you do not understand this explanation, please comment below so that I can make another video where I can use some graphics so that you can understand this amendment. This is very interesting, right? So that's all for today, friends. Let us see in the next video where we will be discussing this illustration, right, which is based on section 15.2D, right? See you in next video. Thank you.